presentation, but maybe also to spell it out again. Do the applicants need to target 3 neighborhoods per country, so at least 9 in total, or should the applicants understand it differently?
So that was what I was explaining during the presentation. Basically, when we say at least 3 neighborhoods located in at least 3 different member states or associated countries, it means that the minimum number of neighborhoods is 3, and that these 3 neighborhoods need to be located in different countries. So, and I would like to insist, when we say urban, peri-urban, and rural area, it means at least 1 neighborhood in each of these areas. I hope it's clearer now.
Yeah, super clear. So we have the next one. So for the pilots, is the expected outcome to innovate already existing good practices, or is it more to uplift challenging contexts where still a lot needs to be done?
This question is very difficult to reply for 2 reasons. First, I don't know what topic it refers to. And second, I think it's focusing more on the content of the proposal. So it is really up to the applicant to come up with a proposal and a concept, and to show in the proposal how it meets the requirements in the topic, and explain it. So it's really, I mean, it is really up to applicants to decide what approach they will take, but they need to clearly address the requirements of the topic.
All right. Question number 3: how important? What is the evaluation weight of it? How important of the architectural value in a call topic on inclusion? How important? There's a verb missing. So how important is the architectural value in the call topic on inclusion and equality, inequality? Are the applicants expected to have architects, spatial designers as a part of the consortia?
Again, also in this case, I think it refers to the spatial planning topic, but I'm not sure because it's not indicated. So again, it is up to the applicant to come up with a proposal that meets the requirements of the topic, and to explain the choices that they made around it. So it's very difficult to reply to this question without going into the content of the proposal. It really, the proposal needs to explain how they are going to meet the requirements of the topic, and how the consortium has been selected to be able to deliver the project as it is proposed.
So yeah, it's all about logical, how the pieces of the projects come together. And maybe just to also mention here that we as the Commission are also limited in what we can comment and what we cannot comment or give you replies. I'm sure we will have examples throughout this session when that will be very much clear that we can showcase that. Question number 4, Elisa, is the methodology of data collection supposed to be innovative and going beyond the state of arts, as in not NEB Horizon Europe proposals? So what's the outlook on this one?
Again, so in this case, so maybe I will provide a more general question again. So the NEB Facility topics in Horizon Europe are assessed following the evaluation criteria of Horizon Europe, meaning excellence, impact, and implementation. And depending on the type of action, whether it is a research and innovation action or an innovation action, it is up to applicants to demonstrate the innovation in their proposed work, as long as they meet all the topic requirements. So here I will not comment on the data collection aspect, because again, that's part of the methodology of a project, and we cannot go into the details of the content of proposals. We can just answer questions to clarify the text of the topics.
Thank you, Elisa. We tick this one off. Question number, I think, 5. Is it useful to study and pilot in a non-European country to mirror or to mirror it, or do all the pilots have to be held in European countries?
Well, also in this case, this is more of a methodological question. So it is up to the applicants to decide on the concept of their proposal, and then also to explain in the proposal the justification for their methodology, for the approach, and how they reasoned to propose that. So whether it's a non-European country or a European country, it will depend on the topic in the first place they are applying to, and second, on the actual proposal they are preparing on the concept. So here again, it really depends on the proposal. I cannot give an answer to that.
Okay. Next question. For innovative approaches for the spatial design of neighborhoods topic, do we have to choose again 3 different neighborhoods from 3 different countries? Are these neighborhoods need to be urban, peri-urban, and rural areas, or just choose only urban ones?
Yes.
I think it's valid to repeat a few times, because I also see there are more questions coming in on this one. So we just take it as in school. We repeat a couple of times, and hopefully it will resonate and then stick with everyone.
Yes, so I think this refers to the topic participation 02 on the spatial design, innovative approaches of the spatial design of neighborhoods, indeed. And there the topic says, demonstrate the approach in at least 3 neighborhoods in urban, peri-urban, and rural areas located in different member states and or associated countries. So again, the minimum number of neighborhoods is 3. And then these 3 neighborhoods need to have at least one in urban, another one in peri-urban, and another one in urban areas. And of course, these 3 neighborhoods have to be in different member states or associated countries. Now, nothing prevents you, if it goes well with your concept, to propose more neighborhoods. But again, this does not mean that more neighborhoods may be assessed positively. What will be assessed during the evaluation is that you meet with the requirements and the proposal is solid and it meets the requirements of the topic. So it really, we're here in the topic text indicating the minimum requirement. I hope it's clearer.
Yes, thank you. Or if it's not, come in with the questions and we can dive deeper. So I think we moved this one into the general one, but
Yes,
it came
I
back.
think this one we
Yeah,
can let
so
it for later maybe.
yeah, definitely. Mr. Anonymous number 1, we are not ignoring you. We are just moving these questions under the general questions, because the same question was to explain to everybody else. The same question was already submitted prior to the session, and when we were preparing for it, we kind of reclassified where it was. So we are coming back to this one a bit later. Next question. So for innovative approaches for the spatial design of neighborhoods, can a public administration be a part of the consortia and receive funding?
So here I will maybe start with the reply, although I think Linda is better placed from CINEA, since they know much better the eligibility criteria. But what I understand is that normally eligible entities that I'm going to start differently. Entities that are eligible to apply to Horizon Europe are also eligible to apply to the NEB facility calls, subject to the specific conditions of the topic. And in this case, in principle, a public administration should be eligible to receive funding. But again, maybe Linda can come in and explain maybe better or
Indeed.
complement.
Yes, so it's true what you said. The participation in a consortium would depend, let's say, on the role and extent that you want that participant to develop the work. Eligibilities are also found under the call conditions, call requirements, and there you will find in the annexes the types of roles also the participants can have. Public administration could be a partner to the consortium, but it's important to take a look at the call conditions and call requirements for every specific call.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Elisa. I'm already mentioning now that you, beyond the info sessions, there are 2 services where you can that you can reach out to. So research inquiry services and the NEB RNI national contact points that can help you. So what I'm trying to say is that not all the questions will be resolved today, and even if you have follow-up questions and there will be no second info session on this, there are structures that will help you resolve them, and we will also further introduce them later in the session. Okay, next question that we have in the call, understanding inhabitants' experience of neighborhoods in the topic. Do the project has to build on the results from past or ongoing relevant research projects, or can it be 100% new? If it can be 100% new, will it affect the evaluation criteria? a complicated question, but let's see if we can dissect it.
Looks like it has 2 or 3 questions in it. So I think I'll refer back to the initial words I said at the end of the introduction of Destination 1. We included a reference indicating where relevant proposals are expected or not expected, are encouraged, not expected. So where relevant proposals are encouraged to build up to build upon previous research, again, where relevant. So it depends on the proposal that is going to be prepared and how it is going to meet the requirements of the topic. So I think I have replied more or less to the question. So where relevant, of course, you are invited to do so, but it doesn't mean it should limit you to existing results.
Okay, we can also take this one. Destination 1, topic 1. Can actual building works on empty properties be funded from the project costs, and to what extent?
Well, here I think Linda knows much better the eligibility conditions for Horizon Europe. As far as I understand, Horizon Europe does not fund building and construction costs because there is other type of EU-funded programs that support that. Horizon Europe, what I can say, it focuses on research and innovation, and it's there to support the costs related to research and innovation. But then I may give the floor to Linda to complement this with more information on eligibility aspects.
To complement, because what you said is already quite accurate. So the eligibility, the eligibility of the cost is can be also found under the call conditions and call requirements in the annexes that you will find in the attachments. You will have to check the specific requirements of the topic, also what can be what is part of the research or the innovation that they have to provide. However, it's again very specific to a specific proposal. Probably this question, therefore, I cannot provide any further details as it would be very proposal specific, probably. So
thank you both again. The next question that we have, what is the updated version of research by design in 2026? This method was new in 2004. So maybe Elisa, if you can a bit share the background thinking.
Yes, indeed. No, I think it's interesting that this question came up because that helps me to clarify a bit. So that this refers probably to the topic participation 02 on the spatial planning, innovative approaches to spatial planning. And the idea of this topic is to apply innovative approaches to the spatial planning of neighborhoods. And this may cover new methods and or existing methods that are applied in innovative ways, and therefore advance the current state of the art to deliver the expected outcomes of the topic. So the examples given in the scope of this text, for instance, this research by design, is just an example and should not be taken as a compulsory method to include in the proposal. So I think this is more of a useful reply rather than entering into the concept of research by design and what has been developed in the past years.
Thanks a lot. Similar but different question. Is there a difference between life-centric and life-centered design?
Again, also in this case, I think it refers to participation 02, and the reply will be quite similar. So it's about applying innovative approaches to the spatial design of neighborhoods, whether these are new methods or existing methods combined or applied in innovative ways, as long as they, let's say, advance the current state of the art. And the example of life-centric design was also given as a mere illustration to help applicants think of what the topic is aiming to, but it's not necessarily, it should not be taken as a compulsory method to include in the proposal.
Okay, I see a pattern there. So we provide examples to explain, not to bind you to a specific methodology as such.
Yes, when it's at the beginning of the scope, yes.
Next question, within participation topics, can capacity building for municipalities and communities like training, coaching, delivery frameworks be a central work package and eligible cost rather than a side activity?
So here again, this is more of a content or a proposal specific. So I will, at the risk of repeating myself, I will indicate again that it is up to the proposal to decide or to explain how they meet the requirements of the topic. The proposals, they will all be assessed again the requirements of the topic. So it's up to them to explain how they will meet these requirements and to justify the choices that they are putting forward in the proposal. So I think that's as much as I can say.
Thank you. We have the next one. So for participation 02 topic, we are planning to focus community engagement and well-being of community. We are planning to focus on community engagement and well-being of community members. Do we have to address climate resilience, water resilience, and biodiversity topics according to the call/topic description?
So again, in this topic, there is one of the requirements which is develop one approach to designing and planning public space that uses innovative methods. And there, the sub-bullet points are the requirements for the innovative methods, no? And one of these is address climate resilience, water resilience, civil security, and biodiversity of public space, and the safety, well-being, and security of its users. So yes, this sub-requirement is a requirement of the topic that applies to the innovative methods that are going to be integrated or used as part of this approach.
Super clear. We have a question from Emel. She's asking, is a research project on nature-based solutions eligible in Destination 1 or Destination 2? If you can answer this one, even though we are under Destination 1 specifically.
Well, again, it depends on what topic they want to submit a proposal for, and the concept of the proposal. Again, the proposals will be assessed again the topic text to which they are submitted. So as long as they meet the requirements, then it's up to the proposal to decide the content and the focus.
All right. We have one general question, but I suggest we take it under this one. What kind of works, activities, projects are funded through innovative actions? If we can, in 3 sentences, maybe to address this one.
I think I mean, unless Linda has a different answer, again, it depends on the topic description, the requirements, and the concept of the proposal. So I would not be able to go through the different activities because it's very proposal specific. So unless Linda has something else to complement, I don't really see what we can reply to.
I would just suggest to complement with the fact that the eligibilities of course are based on the rules for the grant agreements that Horizon Europe has in it's also published in the call conditions, call requirements, so you can find what is eligible, let's say what can be funded, what cannot be funded, probably based on the rules of the grant agreements. And then specifics, this is very difficult as it's not topic specific, and of course it would have to be proposal specific within the context of the call that they are applying these works to be funded for.
Thank you both. I would like to add that there is on your Slido, depending on whether you use the mobile phone or the browser, we added a set of links to different pages, and one of them leads you directly to the call on the NEB facility on the funding and tenders portal. So, and then under the call, you have destinations and all the topics, and there on funding and tenders portal on specific topics, you will also find all these annexes that we are referring to and the rules which are part of the call documentation. Maybe just to help you a bit with orientating where you can find all of this, but also if you use any browser, you will also be able to, not browser, any search engine, you will also very quickly find those. Moving on to the next question, and we have like 9 minutes left for this first part. In the call, understanding inhabitants' experience of neighborhoods, do the required data from rural, peri-urban, and urban areas has to be collected from each of the partners? For example, urban, rural, and so on. I have a feeling that the answer will be depending on a very specific context and what we will apply, but at least I give you the chance to.
It's yeah, Borut, you anticipate. So it really depends on the proposal. It's up to the applicant, the consortium, to propose the approach of the proposal and the methodology. So it's really up to them. We don't have anything to add here.
All right. What about this one? What is implied by research and innovation regarding participation one topic, homelessness?
I think if I understand what I understand from this question is what is the specificities of research and innovation action, because I was mentioning this is a research and innovation action, another is an innovation action. These are different type of actions in Horizon Europe. And I think, Linda, would you like to explain the differences? I think it's...
Yes, sorry. We have research and innovation action and innovation actions under these calls. The important part is the innovation. This can be on the context of the work proposed, on the methodologies, on different activities. However, regarding participation one, research and innovation, this has to be taken in the context of the outcomes that are expected to be addressed from this topic. So the research and innovation proposed in participation one have to lead to the outcomes that are expected from this topic to be addressed. That would be, I know, very generic answer, but this is how it needs to be looked at when it comes to what is research and what is innovation action in Horizon Europe. Also, an additional information, again, I would just suggest can be also found on the Funding and Tenders portal, where all these different aspects of Horizon Europe can be looked at and get more information on.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Lisa. I'll jump a bit because I have a question linked to this one. And it's how do we define homelessness, Elisa? Is it enough that the clients cannot afford to buy or rent on the open market, or is it beyond that?
Yeah, this is this in a way was replied already when I was doing the presentation, because we included the definition. So very important for anyone. There is a glossary for the NEB Facility part of Horizon Europe Work Program. So this glossary is applicable only to the NEB Facility calls. And there in that glossary, we put specific definitions such as homelessness, such as neighborhood, for key elements, key terms that are important to understand the topics. So I would really encourage you to have a look at the glossary, and normally in each topic, for each term that has a definition in the glossary, you will find a footnote check definition in the glossary, so that you don't need to blindly go to the glossary without knowing which terms you will find. So key definitions such as homelessness or neighborhood are already included in the glossary, and that's what you should take into account when preparing the proposal.
Thank you. Okay, last 3 questions. Can private open green spaces be included in the consideration of the proposals, or is it limited to public spaces?
I think that we included. We did not include the definition of public space. Okay. The consideration of proposals, again, open green spaces, it depends on how this would be defined, but again, it depends on the proposal and the applicant to explain how they meet the requirement of the topic, and what are the choices and the rationale behind this proposal. So I think that's
yeah, fair enough. Explains. Second to last question: how can you expect research output if you have only one example of neighborhood? I think somebody didn't really understand the scope of the of the topics, because from what I recall, if I was listening well enough, is that there needs to be 3 neighborhoods. No, not to repeat too much.
Yes, so normally, in each topic, normally we have at least three neighborhoods as a minimum requirement. So either this question needs to be reformulated, or maybe there's another reflection that is going on that we cannot see from this question.
Okay, and maybe I think it's a nice question to kind of wrap up the presentation. What are the main novelties in this destination?
Well, very quickly. So as I was saying at the beginning during the presentation, this time at the end of the introduction to this destination, we indicated that when possible and relevant, it is encouraged to integrate the expertise from the relevant actors from the construction ecosystem, and also to collaborate with and build upon results of relevant research. And then for the first time, we are in a way encouraging participants in the topics on homelessness in destination 1 and 3 to explore synergies with the proposals, or with the successful proposals of the topic on the other destination 3 topic on homelessness. So topic 1 on homelessness is encouraging proposals to establish or explore synergies with the successful proposals on topic on homelessness in destination 3, and vice versa. And I'm not sure if I'm making this clearer or more confusing, but these would be the 2 main news, or the new elements from destination 1, again, apart from the different topics that we've presented.
Thank you, Elisa. Okay, we got like 3 more comments, questions in. I just let them in, not necessarily to start a discussion on that, but they are not comparable. This is linked to before to the reply about different neighborhoods in different areas, so urban, peri-urban, and rural. Like this goes into methodologies, I think, already. What is comparable, what is not, and in what way. So thank you for the comment, and we invite you to further reflect on this through the proposal. The general definition of neighborhood in the glossary is unclear.
Okay, that looks more as a statement rather than a question, but
Yes,
thank you.
yes, I
If you
put it
need
in.
further clarifications, I invite you to submit a question either through the Research Inquiry Service or through your national NEB, New European Bauhaus RNI national contact point.
Yeah, thank you. And then the last one, would the mixed property, public-private neighborhood be appropriate for the call? I will save some words from Elisa and just tell you that it really depends on the context, methodologies chosen, and how you will combine these different elements into a complete and an overarching project proposal as such. Did I do well with that one, Elisa?
Yes, it's really the content of the proposal. It's up to the applicant, and then they need to make sure that they meet the requirements of the topic. That's yeah.
Okay, so bam, we've emptied the question box, bang on time. Basically, it's 9 minutes past 2. Elisa and Linda, thanks a lot for presenting us the destination 1, and then also replying to a number of questions that we received under this. For all of you who are still contributing the questions under destination 1, we cannot show them now and address them, but they are in the system, and we'll see how we will follow up after the session, whether we can prepare something that combines all the question and answers, or we will find another way to try to address them. But in any case, like we it was mentioned a couple of times, research inquiry service or NEB research and innovation NCPs are your instances to address the questions, proposals if you want to discuss something following this info session. Now we move towards the next presentation, which would be the destination 2, and I invite my colleague Emily to take the floor and take us through the destination 2 overall, and then the topics descriptions. Please, Emily, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Barut. Good afternoon, everyone. So yes, Destination 2. To start again with a few introductory words on Destination 2, and we can move to the next slide. So Destination 2 focuses more specifically on the physical dimension of neighborhoods and even more specifically on the built environment. And the main objective behind Destination 2 is to develop a circular and regenerative construction ecosystem. It does that mainly in two ways. First, by looking into the development of innovative construction products or also rethinking and adapting the ones that already exist. And the second way would be to develop new design, new architectural approaches or construction methods that can really contribute to the durability, the circularity, the resource and energy efficiency of the built environment, and also the restoration of its surrounding ecosystems. It's also important to note that Destination 2 focuses not only on new construction, but also on how to reuse or to better use or expand the lifespan of existing buildings. So it's not only about new construction, it's also about existing buildings, and I think that's something you can really see in the 2026 topics. So as you can see on the slide, Destination 2 foresees 3 topics in 2026. The opening and closing dates are the same as for the Destination 1 topics. So the topics will open on the 5th of May this year. And the deadline to submit the proposals is on 1st of December 2026. Maybe also some additional notes. It's important to know that for this destination, legal entities established in China, they're not eligible to participate in both the research innovation actions and the innovation actions. And you can have more detail on this in the general Annex B of the general annexes. Now, again, in Destination 2, a bit similar to what is done in Destination 1, all the topics include some standard sentences. So there is a paragraph that indicates that the proposals are expected to follow a participatory and transdisciplinary approach. And there, of course, again, to repeat a bit what we've been saying a lot, but the actors and disciplines to be involved depend very much on the topic and on the concept of each proposal. Then another standard sentence that is included in the topics is that the proposals are expected to allocate at least 0.8% of their budget to engage with the new Open Bauhaus Hub for Results and Impact, which is a project that aim to gather the knowledge from the NEB projects and action and to make them accessible. And then there is also one relevant sentence to encourage the project to integrate social science and humanities. With those few introductory notes, then we can go now to the topics and move to the next slide, where I'll present the first topic for Destination 2, which is sustainable, inclusive, affordable, and beautiful solutions for thermal comfort in buildings. So starting with the technical aspects, this is an innovation action. The TRL level expected by the end of the project is 5 to 7. And the budget for this topic is 12 million euros in total. So yeah, and we plan to fund 3 projects. So we estimate an EU contribution of around 4 million per project. And this is a lump sum topic. Now, moving on to the next slide. The idea behind this topic is really to respond to a challenge, which is increasing the thermal resilience of buildings and ensuring thermal comfort in buildings, especially now that you see in Europe and all around the world. We are all increasingly exposed to extreme weather events. And today, thermal comfort is often ensured through very energy intensive solutions that often come with a lot of downsides. So they increase energy demand, they create greenhouse gas emissions, they they are expensive. So this topic really promotes alternative solutions that are inspired by vernacular knowledge, nature-based solutions, bioclimatic design, and frugal innovation. So we're really looking into solutions that are not only sustainable, but that are also affordable, inclusive, and aesthetically appealing, in line with the new Bauhaus values. The topic has two expected outcomes. The first one is about raising awareness about construction ecosystem actors of those solutions that are inspired by vernacular knowledge, nature-based solutions, bioclimatic design, and frugal innovation. And yet the idea is really to help these approaches to become better understood and more widely used by practitioners. Then the second expected outcome is about the impact. So it's really to have the solutions that help achieve and maintain thermal comfort while also reducing the life cycle energy use and greenhouse gas emissions and cost compared to solutions that are currently on the market. So yeah, the objective here is, as I said, not only comfort, but also to really have solutions that are more sustainable and cost effective over the full life cycle. There are four main requirements for proposals. First, the projects are expected to develop and demonstrate at least two solutions for thermal comfort, again, that are inspired by vernacular principles, nature-based solutions, bioclimatic design, and or frugal innovation. And these solutions must be demonstrated on new and or existing buildings. And something important is that the demonstration sites must include at least one cultural heritage building. And they also must be tested in at least two different climatic zones located in different member states and or associated countries. Second, the proposals must evaluate the reduction in life cycle greenhouse gas emission, the reduction in life cycle cost, and the improvement in affordability compared to the existing market solution. Then third, the proposals must ensure that the solutions are accessible to vulnerable groups and also ensure the aesthetic appeal of those solutions. This is really to reflect the NEB approach. And finally, the projects must identify the barriers that are hindering the implementation, scalability, and replicability of the proposed solution, including the regulatory barriers, and provide recommendation and guidance to overcome them. And also maybe one more element to highlight for these topics is that we are asking the proposals to explore synergies with other EU initiatives, and in particular the EU Mission on Adaptation to Climate Change. And there we mention one specific topic from the work program 2025 of the Mission Climate Adaptation on testing and demonstrating innovative solutions to improve resilience to extreme heat. And the reference of the topic is in the topic text. Now, the second topic, we can move to the next slide, is advancing sustainable maintenance and repair measures for existing building. So this is an innovation action with a TRL level 6 to 8 expected by the end of the project. The total budget for this topic is 10 million euro that would be distributed across two projects, so each one receiving approximately 5 million euros. And again, this is a lump sum topic. Next slide, please. But here the idea of this topic is really to extend the lifespan of existing buildings instead of demolishing and rebuilding buildings, which is really has high environmental costs. So yeah, here the focus is really to improving maintenance and repair, because often nowadays maintenance and repair are still very much reactive rather than predicting, and so that leads to a lot of inefficiencies and missed opportunities to reduce environmental impact. and there are also a lot of negative impacts because they take time, they can be expensive, very disruptive, etc. So this topic really focuses on developing solutions for efficient, timely, sustainable, and high quality maintenance and repair, really with this idea of extending the lifespan of buildings. There are two expected outcomes for this topic. So the first one focuses on the extended service life of existing buildings and the reduction of their life cycle environmental impacts, contributing to a more sustainable built environment. And the second one is about enabling the easier and more frequent use of predictive maintenance in existing buildings. There are four main requirements for the proposals. First, the proposals must develop at least one prospective lifecycle assessment-based decision support tool for predictive maintenance and repair of existing buildings. And here, yes, the idea is to develop a tool that can support decisions in terms of maintenance and repair based on the lifecycle environmental impacts and long-term performance. Second, the proposals must develop at least one package of maintenance and repair measures to extend the estimated service life of existing buildings. And the package, there are a few requirements for this package. It should integrate circularity principles and be environmentally sustainable. It should be financially feasible over the remaining building life cycle. It should involve the building's inhabitants, users, and owners in the design and implementation of the measures. It should comply with EU and national regulation. And finally, it should minimize disruption in terms of noise and duration of works. Third, the proposals must demonstrate both the tools and the packages of measures on 3 buildings located in 3 different member states and or associated countries. And the 3 buildings must include at least 1 heritage building and at least 1 social and affordable housing project. And finally, the last requirement is that proposals must explore the potential for wider deployment of predictive maintenance, identify barriers, and propose solutions to overcome them. And moving on to the third topic for 2026 in Destination 2, which is innovative solutions for the sustainable and beautiful use of vertical space. So this topic is about developing and demonstrating innovative ways to use this underused vertical space above our buildings and our streets to create affordable housing and green spaces, while also limiting the land take and the urban sprawl. A few technical aspects. Again, it's an innovation action. Do we expect a TRL 6 to 8 by the end of the project? The total indicated budget is 15 million euros, which is intended to fund 3 projects, so it would be 5 million per project. And again, this is a lump sum topic. So yeah, as I was hinting at, the idea, we can move to the next slide. The idea behind this topic is really to tackle a key challenge that many neighborhoods face, is that there is an increasing demand for housing and land, and at the same time, there is really an urgent need to preserve and restore nature and biodiversity. So it's about a balance to find, and this topic focuses on rethinking how we use the existing built environment, and in particular, these spaces, vertical spaces that are underused. So yeah, we've included some examples in the scope of this topic text. We mentioned rooftop gardens, vertical extensions, urban vertical farming, etc. But also something that I want to stress is that here the idea behind this topic is to not only to focus on the rooftops, but also to look into maybe innovative, like out of the box solutions or ideas that would find solutions to make use also of the space above the streets. That's why we refer to this under space above streets and buildings. Yeah, and at the same time, of course, we are aware that such solutions can raise some concerns. So that's also something that we will be asking the proposals to look into. And yeah, the objective is really to develop solutions that are not only efficient, but also sustainable, inclusive, and beautiful, in line with NEB values again. There are 2 expected outcomes. And yes, we can move to the next slide. Thank you. The first one is a higher availability of innovative solutions for vertical space use on the market. And the second expected outcome is that these solutions contribute to a more efficient use of the existing built environment while providing green spaces and or affordable housing in neighborhoods. There are 6 main requirements for proposals. The first is that proposals must develop and demonstrate at least one innovative solution that uses underused and unused vertical space above building and or street in a sustainable and beautiful way to improve housing affordability and or increase green spaces. Yeah, it's important to note that proposals must integrate circularity principles in their solutions. So, for instance, that means, circular construction approaches, reuse of materials, for instance, or the design for adaptability. And the third requirement is that proposals must assess the life cycle, environmental, social, and economic impacts of the solution. Fourth, where relevant, proposals have to minimize and mitigate the negative effects of densification. The fifth requirement is that proposals have to assess the potential of the solution to contribute to a reduction in land use demand. And finally, the last requirement is that proposals must identify and address the key regulatory, technical, and societal barriers to implementation and propose solutions to overcome them with a view to scalability and replicability. So yeah, and just one last thing on this topic is that their international cooperation is encouraged because we believe that yeah, there are things to learn also from other models from other parts of the world. So that's it for the presentations of the topic, and now happy to answer the questions.
Thank you very much, Emily. Yeah, some questions dialed in from during your presentation. Some we already had from before. The most popular being here, as you can see with the 10 thumbs up, being so for the region 01 topic, does solution refer to a specific technical tool or intervention, or to a broader transferable integrated approach, including technology, methodologies, processes, or governances, and the intended use context? So yeah, is it a specific technical tool or it's more general?
Yeah, so here it would be something more technical. Yeah, the topic text states that the solutions have to be based on vernacular principles, nature-based solutions, bioclimatic design, and frugal innovation. And the goal of the solution is really to achieve thermal comfort in buildings. So there we would expect more technical solution, because at the end of the day, the aim is really to contribute to the thermal comfort of buildings.
If I'm sorry, if I may complement, just to also note that even though in these topics we have a certain TRL level, meaning indicating that there is some solution to be validated at certain lab level or in a real life environment, it's also very important that to note the outcomes of the call. So just to make sure that yes, maybe a tool can be part of the outcome that the proposal is trying to address through this topic, but also be mindful of the other outcomes that need to be addressed as well.
Borut, you're muted.
It had to happen, right? Thank you very much for the for the replies, Miriam. We hope we answered your question. If not, you're welcome to come in with a request for clarification. Cypren is asking, under the Region 1 topic, are proposals expected to demonstrate measurable thermal performance and life cycle carbon metrics, and how should these align with EU-wide methodologies such as levels? You partly replied to this already, Emily, but if you can then also complement based on the second part of the question.
Yeah,
please.
well, here again, I think it's very just important to stick to the topic text where, yeah, we create proposals to develop and demonstrate two solutions, at least two solutions for achieving thermal comfort, and they are expected also to evaluate the reduction in life cycle greenhouse gas emission and life cycle costs, as well as the improvement of in terms of affordability compared to the solution currently on the market. But then if the topic doesn't specify more than that, then it's really about demonstrating how a proposal will address those requirements and to explain the methodology that will be used and justify why. But if we don't specify which methodology should be used, etc., then it's really up to the proposals to, yeah, to decide and to justify why they're making such a decision.
Super. Thanks, Emily. Then we have a second question from Cypren. How does the NEB facility intend to support harmonization of performance standards for bio-based construction materials across member states, in particularly where regulatory barriers differ? I would say it's not a completely a question related specifically to the topics, but Emily, a challenge for you. Do you accept it in that regard?
Yeah, I do accept the challenge word. Yes, so I think here, of course, the NEB facility on its own cannot fix this challenge alone, but yeah, that is something that is written in the introduction of Destination 2, is that it's something, yeah, that Destination 2 is looking into. It's that the proposed solution should comply with the current European standards and regulation. And as I've been explaining when presenting the topics, a few of them refer to those regulatory aspects and the barriers, and ask projects to propose solutions to overcome them. For instance, by providing guidance, by providing recommendation on how to overcome those barriers links to the standards. So yeah, this challenge of unharmonized and varying building codes, this is something that could be addressed by those requirements in the topics. Again, borrowed second time.
Sorry. Again, the question linked to whether the construction works are funded or not. Maybe just to, in 2 sentences, just to refresh what already Elisa mentioned in the beginning.
So eligibility of the cost can be found under the core condition, core requirements, where you have the annexes and the different attachments where you can find the rules for the eligibility of costs. As for the specific proposals, these would be always evaluated in the context of the proposed work. So if there is for validation, it will depend on how you are supporting the pathway that you want to develop and how you want to reach the outcomes of the specific call.
Super, Linda. Thanks a lot. Next question. In thermal comfort topics, what is the expected balance between technical performance, affordability, and the NEB beauty dimension, and how is that assessed? What can we say about that, Emily?
I'm afraid not much, in a sense that, again, no, the topic text here doesn't specify anything about such a balance. So it's really, again, up to each proposal to indicate how he will meet the requirements of the topic and to justify the methodology. So here I'm afraid I cannot really say more. And when we expect the assessment to be done in a certain way, then it's written in the topic text. But if it's not written, then we really expect proposals to decide and to justify their decision.
Thank you. Francisco is asking us for the region 1, regeneration 1 topic, expected to demonstrate 2 solutions in a new and/or existing buildings, and so on and so forth. Will proposals that focus solely on heritage buildings be given greater weight? So it's about the assessment criteria ultimately. Either Emily or Linda, any of you invited.
If I may, I would just repeat what was mentioned already in this destination 1. So the evaluation of the proposals will follow the criteria of Horizon Europe, where we assess the excellence, impact, and implementation. In the call, it's described what are the minimum requirements for the proposals to address to reach the outcomes. There is no quantification of whether more is better or less is better. It will be very proposal specific, always following the call requirements.
Thank you, Linda. We go to the next question. Again, for the first topic under second destination, innovative/disruptive solutions are in scope. Innovative solutions can innovative solutions be also submitted to the EIC accelerator? So the question related to other parts, well, to other funding opportunities, but yeah, if you can offer some reply to this question, either Emily or Linda, please come in.
Yeah, I can start, and then Linda, feel free to complement. So regarding the solutions are to be developed, yeah, so they should be well, it's hard to know exactly what the person has in mind when they write innovative, disruptive, but here it's really about demonstrating solutions that are based on vernacular principles, nature-based solutions, bioclimatic design, and/or frugal innovation. I don't know if I can say more than this.
Maybe I can complement, unless Linda, you want to come in. I would say that it also depends on the action and the type of support you're looking for, because EIC Accelerator is specifically targeted to startup and SMEs, and it offers the possibility of grant support as well as support with an investment component such as blended funding. So it also depends on what the action that you have in mind needs to receive as support. That would be my suggestion.
Okay, thank you. Love the teamwork. Next question. For maintenance and the repair of existing buildings, how can social inclusion and participation be integrated as evaluation relevant elements, not just as a technical context? So yeah, if I understand the question correctly, is how to incorporate let's say the inclusion and participatory NEB framework values opposed to not being just a technical mention.
Well, if I understand the question correctly here, again, I think it's well, starting from the topic text. So the text requires proposals to involve buildings, inhabitants, users, and owners in the design and implementation of the maintenance and repair measures. And yeah, again, there is also this standard sentence to for proposals to follow participatory and transdisciplinary approach. But here, again, it's up to the proposals to indicate how they will do this and to justify their methodology. So again, it really depends. It's up to the proposals to demonstrate how they will embed those different elements in their proposals.
Okay, thank you. Next question, what measures are expected for the sustainable maintenance and repair of existing buildings in small municipalities in rural areas with low-rise construction? Super specific, but yeah, what can you say, Emily?
Well, again, in the topic text, we don't have specific requirements. There's no, the topic text doesn't specify anything about the nature or the location of the building. So, yeah, it will, and all, the same requirements apply to all buildings where the solution will be demonstrated. So it's I'm sorry to see this again, but again, up to the proposals to indicate how it meets the specific requirements of the topic text.
Yeah, clear. Thanks. We are back to the definition of neighborhoods. So what is the definition of neighborhood is addressed in the glossary, but then we have a question related to this. And let's see if we can reply it. Is a site that already includes non-populated buildings adjacent to a town that is currently not active, but there being an aim for it to become populated, considered as such. So I'll start, and Emily, you come in. I don't think one building or two buildings constitutes a neighborhood, even by any formulations, and definitely not by the one that is a part of the glossary. Emily would also like to hear your take on this.
Here, I would just send to the definition we included in the glossary, which states that a neighborhood will be understood as an area that either has a maximum of 25 square kilometer or a maximum of 10,000 inhabitants. And so, yeah, if it falls under one of the other, then it counts as a neighborhood.
Okay, then I remove my previous statement. Apologies for outreaching my competences here. Next question. So for destination 2, topics 1 and 3, is the exchange and transfer of good practice and innovation between regions encouraged, and if it is an eligible cost?
There again, it's needed to refer to the topic text, and that's not in none of those topics. It's a requirement in terms of eligible costs. I don't know if Linda can say more, but since it's not a specified requirement in the topics, yeah.
I would just complement, if I may, to say that, again, this seems very proposal specific. So if there would be something that would make sense in the proposal, it makes sense to have these exchange and transfer. It would be evaluated in the context of all the proposed work, and as well the costs related to this would be evaluated in the context of the proposal, aiming to develop solutions for this specific goal.
Thank you both. So we have topic region 01. It mentions synergies with Horizon Klima 04 topic. Mentions that the synergy should be explored. So should an organization highlight if it has submitted an application to this call, or should that be done only if the project was actually awarded to the organization? So how to present these synergies with the other call is the question.
There, I don't know if you have some advice, because I think there was some more that
So in this
evaluators will
case,
be looking at.
yeah, so in this case, what I would also point out is the other requirements that you have a little bit more generic for each call, where you are talking about certain approaches or expected allocation of certain budgets, etc., you always have to take a look at the context that of your work that you're proposing under the call and how you are going to develop these synergies. So maybe that would be the indication how to look at these text requirements, call requirements that you have in maybe not just this topic, but in some other ones. So if you're mentioning synergies, it needs to be a meaningful contribution to the synergies in the proposed work that you are going to develop under this call.
Thank you. Anything to add maybe in connection to this one, because it's also linked to the connections. Just offering an additional
Yes.
space because I didn't connect it before.
Yeah. So I would just suggest again, so there is the call specified at the topic. Therefore, the applicants, even for the calls of the NEB facility, they already can research the call text of this other call with which they have to have synergies, and they can learn about what activities are expected of the projects that are being funded under this call, and therefore can maybe already estimate what would be expected and where they could align and find synergies between their project and their NEB facility with the call, with the projects under the call of Climate 04 of the Mission Climate.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Linda. One intermediate message just for Nesrine. Nesrine is inputting the questions under destination 2, but the questions are under destination 3. So Nesrine, don't worry. The questions that you're input here, we'll address them in approximately 20 minutes, half an hour. And back to the last, I think, a few questions that we have under second topic. How will the life cycle assessment-based decision tools address bio-based materials in heritage and social housing buildings? Emily, can we say something on that?
Well, there is no specific requirement for bio-based materials in this topic. So here again, it really depends on the proposal.
I see my screen is playing funny. Just a second. Okay, it's back. Apologies for that. Thank you, Emily, for answering the question. And I have a new one for you. Can the stairs be counted as vertical spaces? And let me see if I can fix the screen in between.
In the meantime, I can answer. So there is also a entry in the glossary for vertical space. So yeah, we really refer when saying vertical space to unused or underused spatial layer located above existing buildings, streets, and infrastructures in cities, towns, rural settlements that can offer untapped potential for sustainable housing, green spaces, and public amenities. So again, depending on the proposal and on how it's proposed to do something with, for instance, stairs, it could fall under the definition. It really depends. But
Okay.
there, it's important to stick to the definition that is in the glossary.
Perfect. Voila. So similar to the third topic, should innovative solutions for the vertical space always increase the green spaces, or is it not possible to answer it with a yes or a no?
Let me take the. If I'm not mistaken, we write that is it's an and or. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong topic text. So in that case, if I'm not wrong, that would mean that no, it doesn't always have to increase the green spaces.
If I can complement, the topic is specifically looking at reusing the space. So not necessarily does it need to be a green space, but it has to be reused in a way that can support the outcomes of the Regeneration 3 topic, which is limiting the sprawl, urban sprawl, and also make use of underused spaces, which would be, in this case, vertical spaces.
Yes. Thank
Super.
you. And I confirm now that I found the right topic text, and I have it under my eyes that yeah, it's really in order to improve the availability and affordability of housing and or provide more green spaces.
Thank you. Okay, we have 6 minutes left. We have 4 or 5 questions. Let's see how much we can complete in this time before moving to destination 3. But for the topic 1 and 3, how important is eco-design, design for reuse, for ease of repair, for ease of modification, for these 2 topics, and if it's important at all. So there won't be a definitive answer, but what can we say, Emily?
Again, to really look into the topic text, the requirements, for instance, you know, all this can be very important if we ask, for instance, the solutions to take into account circularity principles. But yeah, it's really depends on the topic requirement.
All right. Related to the 3rd topic under destination, are temporary technical solutions for vertical spaces also an option, or are you looking only for permanent technical or built solutions?
Here, the idea is to have something more permanent that can really, in the long term, either provide affordable housing or green spaces, and to really limit urban sprawling
All
in
right.
the long term.
Thank you, Emily, and thank you, Alice, for the question. Cyprian is asking for the 3rd topic, will proposals be encouraged to prioritize low carbon and bio-based materials in vertical space solutions?
Well, here again, I mean, there are minimum requirements in the topic text that the proposals have to meet. And here, yeah, and the topic text says that the proposals should integrate circularity principles to the developed solutions. So this is something indeed that could, like low carbon bio-based materials could help filling in that requirement, but it's up to the applicants to decide how they will do that.
All right, and the last but not least from Mr. V, the 3rd topic, vertical space is intended within constructed spaces only. Is the vertical space intended within constructed spaces only or within the existing ones, or also the public, private, outdoor areas? If there's any more to the definition that we can add.
Not really. And so no, it's really, again, I invite the applicant to look at the definition we've included in the glossary. So yeah.
No, yeah. All right, very good. Bam. So thanks a lot, Emily. Thanks a lot again to Linda. And we are moving back to the presentation deck and going to destination 3, innovative funding and new business models for transformation of neighborhoods. It's my pleasure to invite Sophia to take the floor and guide you through this destination before diving into the Q&A. Please, Sophia, the floor is yours.
Perfect. Thank you, Borut, and hello, everyone. Happy to take you through the 3rd and last destination, destination 3 of the NEB facility. And like for the other 2 destinations, I'll give a brief overview of what the destination focuses on in general, and then the specific topics under it for 2026. So we can directly go over to the next slide with an overview. So yeah, Destination 3 focuses on innovative funding and new business models for the transformation of neighborhoods. And it seeks to explore and provide the necessary framework, but also incentives to rethink how solutions and projects are designed, developed, but also invested in for the transformation of neighborhoods in line with the new European Bauhaus. And the topics under this destination seek to do so by, first of all, understanding what are the barriers and drivers that shape the development and uptake of NEB projects within the built environment. Then, based on that, also leveraging the appropriate market conditions and demonstrating the feasibility, long-term sustainability, and also competitiveness of NEB projects and solutions. And lastly, this destination also focuses on how to attract increased investment to NEB projects through returns and incentives that go beyond financial capital only. So, for example, here looking at the environmental, aesthetic, cultural, but also social value and returns that NEB projects and solutions create. So yes, as you can see in this overview, this destination counts with 3 topics for 2026, which I'll go through in further detail in a moment. And just to give a few general details that apply to all 3 topics. So as for the other 2 destinations, the topics open for applications on the 5th of May this year and close on the 1st of December. All topics under Destination 3, they also include a paragraph encouraging proposals to follow a participatory and transdisciplinary approach by integrating different actors and disciplines as relevant to each topic. Wherever relevant, some topics also include a paragraph encouraging the contribution of social sciences and humanities actors and disciplines. And finally, all topics include a sentence on the expected contribution of at least 0.8% of project's budget to the new European Bauhaus Hub for Results and Impact, to share their results, findings, and learnings, but also to contribute to impact assessment. And with that brief overview, we can go straight into the first topic, which focuses on structurally addressing homelessness through coordinated social infrastructure and services in neighborhoods. This is an innovation action with an indicative budget of 10.5 million and expects to fund around 3 projects. And why this topic? What is its relevance? It departs from the fact that over 1 million people in Europe are estimated to experience homelessness, with almost half of those estimated to be in a situation of chronic homelessness for over 2 years. So this topic really focuses on long-term homelessness by looking at social infrastructure and services that are crucial to structurally address the multidimensional interconnected causes of homelessness. And these social infrastructure and services that are referred to in the topic text, they can include the physical places, but also the public and community sector facilities and services that support access to healthcare, employment, education, community integration, and other social services. And it's important here that they're developed in a coordinated way that addresses exactly these interconnected causes of homelessness and supports the reintegration of homeless groups by avoiding their long-term dependence on emergency support. This topic also focuses on homelessness at neighborhood level, because the neighborhood level is understood to be the immediate environment for homeless groups and where immediate action is possible. And yeah, under the understanding that if the needed infrastructure and services aren't available close to where homeless groups need them the most, then it makes it difficult to address the root causes of homelessness. And with that, we can go over to the next slide, which shows the 2 main expected outcomes of this topic. The first one is evidence of these structural social infrastructure and services that are needed to address homelessness at neighborhood level. And these are made available to stakeholders involved in addressing homelessness. And the second expected outcome is an improved availability, but also accessibility of these social infrastructure and services for the homeless groups in the targeted neighborhoods. Then under the scope, we have two main requirements. The first one is for projects to develop a system-based approach to mitigate homelessness and support the reintegration of individuals and communities by coordinating these key social infrastructure and services, which can include services such as healthcare, education, employment, community integration, but other relevant social services. And all this focusing on the neighborhood level. And as you'll see in the topic text, this requirement has a series of sub-bullet points, which outline the sub-requirements that this approach should meet at the minimum. But I won't go through them all for the sake of time today. And then the second main requirement under this topic is to develop and validate this approach in at least 5 neighborhoods located in different member states or associated countries. And I'd like to also here just highlight, as my colleague did for the homelessness topic in Destination 1, that the idea here is that proposals are really encouraged to exploit synergies and any type of complementarities with the successful proposals from the topic under Destination 1 on housing-led approaches to address homelessness, because as you can see, these two topics are quite interconnected in terms of the challenges that they seek to address. We can now move on to the second topic for Destination 3, which is on understanding capital market dynamics for increased investment in new European Bauhaus projects in neighborhoods. This one is a research and innovation action with an indicative budget of 7 million and expects to fund 2 projects. This topic looks at the fact that there is a discrepancy between the demand and supply of capital in the context of NEB projects. So in terms of the capital size, diversity, returns, and risk. So on the one hand, we observe NEB projects that are typically smaller scale projects. They create oftentimes different forms of longer term returns, so ranging from social, cultural, but also environmental value besides the economic or financial value. And therefore they can have potentially higher levels of risk. And on the other side, on the supply side of capital, we see typically large, short-term oriented and also risk-averse investment funds which seek investment opportunities that are able to absorb large amounts of funding. And this discrepancy can hinder or at least challenge investments in projects that seek to transform neighborhoods and communities in line with the new European Bauhaus. So this is exactly what this topic focuses on. And the topic text also mentions place-based impact investing as an innovative investment approach that can exactly contribute investments in NEB-aligned projects by providing risk-adjusted financial returns while at the same time creating social and environmental value alongside economic value. So on the next slide, we can see the expected outcomes and scope requirements of this topic. This topic has 2 main expected outcomes. The first one is that project promoters, public authorities, but also investors have a better understanding of what are these capital market demand and supply dynamics that underlie and shape investments in projects looking at the transformation of neighborhoods in line with the new European Bauhaus. And secondly, that there are increased investments as a result of this towards NEB-aligned projects, for the sustainable and inclusive transformation of neighborhoods. Then under the scope, we have 3 main overarching requirements for this topic. The first one requires projects to analyze the capital market dynamics that influence investments in NEB aligned projects for the transformation of neighborhoods. And as you'll see in the topic text, this requirement has a few sub-bullet points that outline the minimum requirements of what this analysis should cover. And I won't go through them in detail now for the sake of time as well. Then the second overarching requirement under this topic is to develop an innovative investment solution that addresses and leverages these analyzed capital market dynamics for increased investment in NEB projects and solutions. And also here, the topic text outlines in a few sub-bullet points the minimum requirements that the solution should cover. And lastly, projects are required to conduct the analysis and validate the solution, the investment solution that they will have developed in at least 3 different member states and or associated countries. And now we can go to the last and third topic for Destination 3, which looks at approaches to reuse vacant, obsolete, or underutilized spaces. This topic is a research and innovation action with an indicative budget of 9 million and also expects to fund 2 projects. So this topic is looking at the fact that there's a significant number of existing spaces that are vacant, obsolete, so meaning their need or function is no longer relevant or needed, but also underutilized spaces in Europe. And at the same time, we are experiencing current challenges such as the housing crisis and also environmental commitments such as the EU's goal of no net land take by 2050. And these all point towards the need and the opportunity to reuse these spaces that are vacant or not being used. Then there is also an opportunity that vacant, obsolete, or underutilized spaces are often close to or connected to some kind of essential infrastructure services, which means that there's an opportunity to reuse them to address community needs. So this topic focuses on the reuse to address local community challenges and needs. And then this topic also, of course, recognizes that some of these spaces might already be being renovated, renatured, or converted, but this happens typically at individual scale, so one building at a time, or for temporary reuse. So this topic really focuses on the need for a systematic approach to map these spaces in neighborhoods and also to involve the local stakeholders in the process of their long-term reuse. So on the next slide, we can see that this topic has a few, 2 main expected outcomes. The first one is an increased number of local authorities that can systematically identify and quantify these vacant, obsolete, or underutilized spaces for reuse in neighborhoods in a way that is context sensitive, so sensitive to the local context, and like I just said, that addresses local community challenges and needs. And then the second expected outcome is, as a result of this, an increase in renovated, renatured, also converted spaces. Then under the scope, we have 4 overarching requirements for this topic. The first one is for projects to develop a systematic and context-sensitive approach for vacant, obsolete, or underutilized spaces, including buildings or infrastructures. Also here, you'll see on the topic text that there's a series of sub-bullet points that outline the minimum requirements that this approach should cover. So I invite you to consult the specific topic text. Then, as a second main overarching requirement, projects must validate this developed approach in at least 3 neighborhoods in urban, peri-urban, and rural areas. So here, I'd just like to highlight that it's urban, peri-urban, and rural areas, one of each, and these located in different member states and or associated countries. Then projects are expected to assess the social, cultural, environmental, and also economic value of this developed approach. And lastly, provide recommendations to inform the adaptation of this approach to different neighborhood contexts. So that's about it from me for a quick overview of Destination 3 and the 3 topics under it for the year 2026. And back over to you, Borut. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Oh yes, we have plenty. I think I counted 22 of them. So
Okay,
we better get
great.
started. So for topic 03, can pilots build on existing initiatives or must all pilot actions start and finish within the project timeframe?
Yeah, so I'd like to recall that this is a research and innovation action. So this topic requires projects to focus on research and innovation activity, so establishing new knowledge and or exploring a new improved technology, product, process, or solution. And here, projects can choose to build on existing and any form of existing relevant activities or research, depending on their proposals and as long as they meet all the specific requirements set out in the topic text. So yeah, up to applicants to decide in this regard.
All right, thank you. In between, we got the feedback that the streaming service is really terrible. We are very sorry for that. It usually works really well. Yeah, we look into, because we are also recording the session on the platform where we are meeting. If there's the quality is better to share that instead of just the recording available through streaming. But yeah, thanks for the feedback and apologies, but there's nothing we can really do at the moment to address that. Going back to the questions, we have a group of questions from Mar now. So for Business 03, what level of engagement from municipalities and local public authorities is expected, either as a partner, associated partner, advisory role, or a formal commitment? What can we say on that?
Yeah, I can only refer back to the part of the topic text that outlines that proposals are required to follow a participatory and transdisciplinary approach through the integration of different actors and disciplines. So that is, in that sense, encouraged, but at the same time, it's also up to applicants to decide and to demonstrate in the proposals what types of actors they will engage in their project and in what capacity. So also here it will depend on your specific proposal and how you demonstrate that, how you meet the specific requirements by engaging the different types of relevant of stakeholders. I think that's about it, what I can say for this topic.
Thank you. Still 03 topic, which definition should be used to classify areas as urban, peri-urban, and rural for the purpose of validation? I assume the glossary one, but I leave it to you since I've made mistakes before. I don't want to do that again. So please, Sophia.
Yeah, thanks, Bodit. So for this one, it's actually a bit tricky because we don't have a definition in the glossary of the NEB Facility work program on urban, peri-urban, and rural areas, but we have definitions that are provided by Eurostat. So Eurostat published a document on applying the degree of urbanization. It's from 2021, which has a methodological manual to define cities, towns, and rural areas. And there they outline that semi-dense areas in low and middle income countries are often described as peri-urban areas. In high income countries, they're usually described as suburbs. But in both cases, these areas have a moderate density or at the transition between a rural area and a city or town. So with population densities greater than 300 inhabitants per square kilometer. So that's the definition that we go by and understand in this case.
Thanks a lot. The Eurostat definition is the way to go and look for it. And the final question from Mar, the third one, to validate the approach in at least 3 neighborhoods and different member states, must these be concrete pilot sites with implementation actions? And how should validation be measured across them? Is this something that we can address with any specific reply?
Yeah. Also, in this case, it's up to the applicants to, it's part of the methodology of the proposal, so it will be up to the applicants to demonstrate how and in what way they intend to validate the approach that is to be developed in the different neighborhoods in urban, peri-urban, and rural areas. But also in this case, Linda, feel free to jump in if I'm missing anything.
I think you have answered it very, very good. Indeed, it depends on your context that you are developing under the topic and also how you are using the pilot site. So the description would be very much specific to what you're proposing in your proposed work for the topic.
Thank you. So topic 3 is super popular. The text states that the approach must address the reuse of vacant, obsolete, or underutilized spaces without specifying the types of buildings concerned. So the question goes, can residential buildings addressing housing vacancy fall within the scope of the third topic?
Yeah, indeed. So this topic refers to vacant, obsolete, or underutilized spaces. The topic text does, in the first bullet point in the scope, it's written spaces including buildings or infrastructures. But beyond that, it's open to applicants to decide and demonstrate the types of spaces they choose to focus their approach on, depending again, of course, on their specific proposal, and as long as they meet all the specific requirements under the topic.
Very good. A bit more general question. So the second topic is research and innovation action. And the question goes, if we can provide a research topic type example here.
Okay, so business 2 is the topic on understanding capital market dynamics for increased investment in NEB projects. Well, I'm not sure I understand the question correctly, but in this case, we can't give any examples of specific types of projects or anything related. I would just also again here refer to really looking at the topic text and what is required there, and also yeah, just remind that this topic is as the question states, a research and innovation action. So it requires projects to focus on research and innovation activities that are establishing new knowledge or exploring a new or improved technology or product, process, or a form of solution. That's about it, what I can say to this.
Thanks, Emily. Sorry, Sophia.
No worries.
I think I'm being too long for a bit too long, too long online. Anyway, the third topic emphasizes the contribution of the social sciences and humanities. To what extent should the SSH component lead the definition of new business models compared to the purely financial or engineering aspects of the proposal?
Yes, so under the Business 3 topic for 2026, indeed, the topic text mentions that projects are required to include the effective contribution of SSH disciplines and actors. But beyond that, also here, it's up to applicants to decide to what extent or in what form they decide to include SSH disciplines and actors, and they will have to demonstrate this in their proposals, again, depending on what type of proposal they formulate, and as long as they meet all the specific topic requirements and also demonstrate how that inclusion of SSH actors and disciplines contributes to the expected outcomes and requirements of the topic.
Thank you. Clear. Does the systematic mapping approach prioritize developing new digital tools, GIS or digital twin, or a replicable mapping governance methodology for diverse contexts? So the question is whether they should prioritize developing the tools or developing the methodologies.
Okay, so first of all, I'm assuming this question refers to topic business 3. So just to recall that this topic, the main requirement is for projects to develop a systematic and context-sensitive approach for vacant, obsolete, or underutilized spaces. And the topic text outlines in sub-bullet points the main requirements that this approach should cover. This includes the identification, but also prioritization of these spaces in the targeted neighborhoods. So just to clarify that. Then I see an element in the question here of a replicable mapping governance methodology. So as we can see in the topic text, projects are also required to provide recommendations to inform the adaptation of the developed approach in different neighborhood contexts. So these contexts may include urban as well as rural areas, depending on the type of proposal that you formulate, and as long as you meet all the specific topic requirements. And just a point that I'd like to mention here is that the general introduction of the NEB Facility Work Program 26-27 mentions that the NEB Facility seeks to foster solutions that consider and are applicable across urban, peri-urban, and rural contexts as relevant, and of course, depending on each topic text. So yeah, this is definitely encouraged. And then regarding the first part of the question on new digital tools, the topic text doesn't refer to any types of new digital tools. So what I can say here is that applicants may choose to include new digital tools as part of their developed approach, depending on, again, the proposal, as long as they meet the minimum specific requirements. But this will be up to them to demonstrate to what extent they choose to focus on additional types of tools.
Thank you very much. We close this one. The next one, the question goes, does context sensitive include mapping pre-existing ecological or social functions like spontaneous biodiversity informal uses to prevent negative impacts during the reuse? So yeah, what does the context sensitive include in this regard?
Yeah, so again, this question is referring to the third topic. Regarding, so the question addresses mapping spaces and their functions. So indeed, as you'll see in the topic text, proposals are required to identify and prioritize vacant, obsolete, or underutilized spaces. And the text also states that in cases where these spaces may already fulfill any type of important ecological or social functions, projects should indeed identify measures to strengthen these spaces' governance and also oversight with the community, and strengthen local regulatory frameworks. And in this case, it's up to proposals to demonstrate how they identify these spaces that may already fulfill important ecological social functions. Yeah, and as a last comment, so the question is also asking about preventing negative impacts during reuse. Indeed, as you'll see in the topic text, the proposals are required to assess any potential side effects or challenges that the reuse of the identified spaces may cause.
Thank you. I won't pretend that I understood that, but it sounded very clear.
I hope I was clear enough.
Yeah, but it's also me not understanding. I'm sure that people watching us understand because they know what you are talking about. Me, not maybe always. For Business 03, should we focus strictly on the financial viability of conversion in weak markets, or also demonstrate the direct social impact of the housing solutions?
So in this case, the topic requires, as you'll see in the third bullet point, requires proposals to assess the social, cultural, environmental, but also economic value of the developed approach. So it's a combination of these aspects. And then the question also refers to housing solutions. So this topic focuses on the reuse of vacant, obsolete, or underutilized spaces to address local community needs or challenges. It doesn't specifically refer to housing needs or challenges, but also here, applicants may choose to focus parts of or their approach on the reuse of spaces for housing as part of the local community needs or challenges that they identify as part of the proposal. But also here, it depends very much on the type of proposal that applicants choose to formulate. And again, as long as they meet all the specific requirements that are the minimum requirements set out in the topic text.
Thank you. So for topic 1 on mass customization, the modular components includes 3D components, so it refers to 3D components, but does it also include 2D or 1D one-dimensional components?
Yeah, this topic is a topic in Destination 3, but for the year 2027. So I need to emphasize that today we're focusing on the topics for 2026. Another info session is in the plans for next year to focus on the 2027 topics. But unfortunately, yeah, we have to also, for the sake of time, focus on the 2026 topics. So I'm sorry about that.
Thank you. Going back to 03, the case studies need to be private or public, or is there no indication how they should be, in what context they should be implemented?
Mm-hmm. It's not entirely clear to me what is referred by case studies or to what part of the topic text or requirements this question refers to. I can just stress that proposals are required to develop an approach for the vacant, obsolete, or underutilized spaces. What I can also say is that in this case, it's again very much up to applicants to demonstrate in their proposals the types of stakeholders or pilots they choose to engage in the project, depending, again, of course, on the type of, on their proposals and depending on the specific requirements of the topic. I can also perhaps mention that the NEB Facility is part of Horizon Europe, which is the EU's key funding program for research and innovation, which looks at engaging the EU's talent pool, boosting economic growth, and optimizing the investment impact within a strengthened European research area. So the degree of openness, whether in the development or work implementation of the proposals, would be indicative of the alignment with the aim of Horizon Europe to foster greater transparency and trust for the benefit of scientific research and EU citizens as a whole. Yeah, but Linda, feel free to compliment me on this aspect if I didn't explain it well enough or if I missed something that could be helpful.
Maybe to just complement, as you said, yes, Horizon Europe strives for advancing Europe's goals in competitiveness and also sharing knowledge between different member states. And therefore, the choice in how you select your case studies, your pilots, or how you decide to do your work could also be indicative of how the replicability or scalability of your solutions when reaching the outcomes could be shared also to the wider public. So of course, there is no indication in the text call requirement about being the space private or public. However, in the context of the Horizon Europe and replicability, scalability of actions and reaching the certain outcomes, a consideration should be done how a private space can foster this openness and research sharing and knowledge across European countries and member states.
Thank you.
Thank you both. One question about the evaluation process or the criteria. Let's see, how do evaluators expect cultural, aesthetic, so the NEB values and SSH contributions to be evidenced by the project proposals?
Mm-hmm. So I think this question refers to the third bullet point under the scope, which requires projects to assess alongside other types of value, the cultural value of the developed approach, which may include aspects such as aesthetics. I would like to stress here that the question is asking about SSH contributions as well. So first of all, we have this requirement under the scope to assess the social and cultural value of the approach, but we also have the sentence requiring the effective contribution of SSH disciplines and actors to enhance the societal impact of the research activities. In this case, it's up to applicants to demonstrate in their proposals and explain how they will include and meet these two requirements. Yeah, but feel free, Linda, to come in, as this is a question on evaluation, if there's anything else that I'm missing.
I think you covered it pretty well. Exactly the evidence of these 2 points to be addressed in the proposal is proposal specific, and also on the proposed works, because they differ heavily many times. There is no one approach how to evidence them, and therefore also there is only a call requirement on these to be evidenced within the scope of the proposed work.
Thank you both. And then again, 03 is demonstrable local impact required, or is the primary objective the validation of transferable and replicable approaches?
I would say it's a combination of both. So as you can see in the topic text, projects need to validate the developed approach at the local neighborhood level, and to then assess the social, cultural, environmental, and economic value of the approach. So in that sense, this answers a bit the requirement to demonstrate the value at the local neighborhood level. And then I can also say, so regarding the part of the question on a transferable and replicable approach, as you'll see in the topic text, projects should also provide recommendations for the adaptation of this approach in different neighborhood contexts. So that's also an element of this topic. But yes, again here, up to applicants to outline in the proposals how they will meet these two requirements more specifically.
Thank you, Sophia. We have, 14 questions, 14-ish minutes. So this one's going to be firing so we finish. 03 again, reuse of vacant, obsolete, or underused spaces is required. Again, without specifying the building types. Can residential buildings?
Yeah, it's the same question as before.
Yeah, we same, right? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not crazy, so that's good.
Um,
It seemed like we answered it. But again, 03 being very popular for questions. Is there a specific use for renovated, renatured, or converted spaces that funding is prioritizing? Or can proposals advance any new use of these spaces? So any preferences in how the reuse should be utilized?
Yeah, I can be quite brief on this one. So the topic text outlines that the reuse of spaces should intend to address local community challenges and needs. So that's the scope and under the requirements of the topic. So it's up to proposals to identify what are these local community challenges and needs in the context of their specific proposals as well.
Thank you. 02 topic, is it required that new financial instruments be validated through testing on existing NEB projects and by attracting actual investments to those projects? It's a very specific question.
Yeah. So this question is for topic 2, where proposals should develop an innovative investment solution that addresses the analyzed capital market dynamics for increased investment in NEB projects. So what I can say is that the topic requires projects to validate this developed solution in at least 3 different member states or associated countries. It doesn't specify how this validation or in what form the validation should take place. So also here it's a case where it depends on applicants to demonstrate and explain in their proposals how they intend to conduct this validation and in what form to meet these requirements of the topic. Yeah, and to contribute also, sorry, just to finalize, to the expected outcomes of the topic, which the second expected outcome is exactly increased investments towards NEB-aligned projects for the transformation of neighborhoods. I hope that sufficiently answers the question.
It did. Thank you. A very quick one, is UK considered an associated country? Linda, I give you the floor.
Indeed, yes, the UK is associated to Horizon Europe. So
Thank you. They can participate fully. Well, according to the rules. Next question. We are developing cooperative housing in Pula, that's in Croatia. Which NEB Horizon topics or funding early stage pre-development fund early stage pre-development work such as participation, governance, and legal financial modeling before land transfer or construction? So, is there any funding opportunity under Horizon Europe that would fund the pre-development work, such as participatory processes and so on and so forth?
Yeah, very briefly, just to stress that today we're focusing on the NEB Facility topics under Horizon Europe only. We don't have any of the NEB Facility topics for 2026 that focus specifically on cooperative housing as such. Yeah, I don't know if this question is referring to a specific topic. You might consider perhaps looking at the first topic on Destination 1 on addressing homelessness through housing-led approaches, if relevant. But yeah, I don't see this question referring to a specific topic.
if I may just very quickly complement, I think the Horizon National Contact Points would be a great place also to direct these questions, as they have also knowledge on the other Horizon topics besides NEB, and there you can find something that could be interesting for you.
Great, thanks, Linda.
Thank you. Next question. For approaches to reuse vacant, obsolete, or underutilized spaces, do we expect physical pilots, or can governance finance activation models plus replicable toolkits be sufficient outcomes of those projects?
Okay, perhaps here I can also just refer or stress to the fact that this is a research and innovation action. So projects need to focus on research and innovation activities. Then, so the topic text outlines that it explains that proposals need to develop an approach, so the systematic and context-sensitive approach, and validate this in at least 3 neighborhoods. But in that respect, it's up to applicants, also in this case, to demonstrate how and in what way they intend to validate the approach to meet the specific topic requirements. And then just to address the part of the question that speaks about replication, the topic text requires projects to provide exactly recommendations for the adaptation of the approach in different neighborhood contexts.
Great, thank you. Under business, under the third topic, what depth of financial market engagement is expected from applicants? Research, investor dialogue, or co-designing the instrument? If we can say something, or if the question is too specific.
I find this question quite difficult to answer, to be honest. It just makes me think back to the fact, again, what I just said, it's a research and innovation action. So the focus here is on research and innovation activities. So it's up to applicants to deem to what extent, or to demonstrate to what extent the involvement of the financial market aspects or engagement is relevant to meet the topic requirements. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. Thanks. Next one, in a collective community investment and ownership topic, what partner mix is typically strongest, and what level of financial modeling is expected? Of course,
Yeah.
this all already taps into the area where we cannot provide an advice, but perhaps we can still say something about this.
Yeah, here also I can be very brief in my reply, because this topic is also one for 2027, so outside of the scope of today, unfortunately.
Okay, we come back to this next year then. Perfect. How do you recommend designing a project so that Horizon R&I outputs can realistically transition into rollout funding and implementation on the ground? That's linked to, again, not specific topics, but to broader architecture of the NEB facility, which consists of the research and innovation component and the rollout component. And perhaps also not the best place to address this, also because we are running out of time a bit.
Yeah.
Croatia.
If I can just complement
Please,
a little
Linda.
bit
Yes.
very quickly. For the applicants, when they are proposing their projects, to lead them a bit about what needs to be addressed in the proposal, you should use the Horizon Europe application form. This has a specific structure where it also leads you to the sections that you should develop, and also has a certain part on dissemination exploitation activities. These is already a little bit kind of leading you to the design, how you should think about of your proposal. And therefore you can already, let's say, stipulate in your project how you will be addressing this. That could lead to a rollout action or another type of funding, scaling up, exploiting the outcomes that you have researched in this topic or in this call.
Super. Thanks a lot, Linda. Much appreciated. Going to the now last 4 questions. So Croatia, Serbia, co-op housing plus adaptive reuse, local capacity for participatory delivery is far lower than in many EU contexts. Does New European Bauhaus offer capacity building? And if not, which EU programs fund it? So again, going super wide.
Yeah.
And yeah, please, Sophia, just to maybe reply on the first part, whether we offer capacity building, and then which other programs fund it. Then we invite whoever submitted the question to do the exploration also a bit on their own.
Yeah, exactly. So unfortunately, yeah, today we're really focusing on the NEB facility opportunities, so we can't really recommend any other EU programs for the specific question. What I can say, because the question refers to adaptive reuse or reuse, I don't see this question referring to any specific topic, but you might consider looking into the third topic under Destination 3, which is looking at approaches to reuse vacant, obsolete, or underutilized spaces, which focuses on the reuse of these spaces through co-creation and participation of community stakeholders, which could fit a bit what you're speaking of. But yeah, this depends on your interest in the specific topic you're looking at.
Thank you. Second to last question, is it mandatory to collaborate with the NEB Hub for results and impact? And if you can give an example of activities that can be developed together with the hub for the proposed project. Is it possible also to reach out to the hub, to contact them?
Yes, so quite straightforward. Yes, beneficiaries are required to allocate at least 0.8% of their budget to engage with the NEB Hub for results and impact, to share their intermediate and final results, findings and learnings, and also to contribute to impact assessment. This is a requirement included for all topics of the NEB Facility 2026 call. What I can also start by saying is that proposals are expected to demonstrate a meaningful collaboration with the NEB Hub for results and impact. But for this, maybe Linda, you might be the best person to explain this a bit better.
So maybe just to complement, because you have provided a very good explanation. Indeed, as said, is required by all the topics, and the activities that would depend a lot on what you are proposing in your work and how you would collaborate with this NEB Hub for results and impact. So it would be very proposal specific, but what we are expecting is seeing some meaningful collaboration described in the proposal, how you can enrich the NEB Hub for results and impact with your proposal, with your proposed work.
Thank you. And the last question, can we incorporate pilot projects and advanced benchmark cases that serve as both inspiration and operational reference models? This is again the 03 topic, if I'm not mistaken. Sophia, is there anything to add in addition to what you already explained through quite a number of questions here?
Yeah, I think it's basically what I've shared already. So here, the topic requires to validate the developer approach in the 3 neighborhoods. But like I mentioned before, it's up to applicants to demonstrate how and in what way they intend to validate the approach. I think that's about what I can say to this, because it's very specific.
Exactly. So thanks a lot, Sophia, Linda. We've exhausted the questions, and still on time. And going now to the last presentation of the funding opportunities, and this one is under a joint topic with the EU missions. And I invite Emily to briefly, quickly present this part, and then we move to the Q&A also on this. Emily, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Borut. So as you said, this is a joint topic we have with the together with the Cities Mission, the Build for People Partnership, the Circular Cities and Region Initiative. So the aim there is that really that those different initiatives join forces around one topic that is common to those different initiatives, which is the circularity in the construction sector. And also just to flag that this topic is not in the new European Bauhaus facility part of the Horizon Europe work program, but in the missions work program. So if you want to look for the topic text, please look at the mission part of the work program. We can go to the next slide. With the technical aspects of this topic, so this is an innovation action. We expect, the theory level is 7 to 8 by the end of the project. It has a total budget of 47.5 million euros for 5 projects, so that's 9.5 million euros per project indicatively. And this is a lump sum topic. And it opened now 20 days ago, so it opened on the 4th of February, and the deadline to submit the proposal is on 8th of October 2026. Also, just to say that there is an eligibility condition that's so in the topic we ask at least 3 cities that should be represented by a local authority or by an entity with an explicit consent from the local authority. that should be each from a different member states or associated countries, and at least one of those 3 cities must be one of the 112 cities selected for the EU mission on climate neutral and smart cities. And also there is another agreement, condition in the specific conditions of that topic, which is that also related to the fact that it's also a cities mission topic, is that projects have to collaborate with the city's mission platform, and this collaboration must be formalized through a memorandum of understanding, which has to be concluded as soon as possible after the project starting date. So that's for the technical requirement. Now, moving on to the next slide. So why do we have this topic? It addresses again a major challenge for the construction sector, which is that the construction sector is really resource intensive. It has a high material consumption, a lot of waste generation, a lot of greenhouse gas emissions. So the main idea behind this topic is to reduce the whole life cycle carbon emissions of the building stock by applying circular economy principles at building, district, and city levels, which can significantly reduce the whole life cycle impacts of the built environment and support more efficient resource use across the building stock. And of course, to make circularity operational, we need not only technical solutions, but we also need tools and business models to do that. So the topic focuses on enabling circularity at a systemic level, which includes the reuse and recycling of construction products and materials, and also ultimately reducing the need for extracting raw materials. So there are 3 expected outcomes that you can see on the slide. The first one is a measurable increase in the number of tools and solutions at district or city level that support circular economy models in the construction sector. The second expected outcome is a measurable reduction in material use and an increase in reuse and recycling thanks to new and replicable business models. And the third expected outcome is a measurable reduction in energy and resource use and in whole life cycle greenhouse gas emissions of buildings and building stock by introducing circular economy activities at building, district, and city level. Now moving on to the next slide, which describe the requirements for the project. The projects will have to develop and demonstrate different tools and solutions. So first, tools and solutions at district or city level that support the introduction of circularity principles in construction, which obviously is the main purpose of the topic. And here, maybe it's important to mention that when we are talking about circular economy principle, we mean that not only at product level, but also at building level. And yeah, the examples we list in the topic text show that, so you know, it can include urban mining, reuse and recycling of construction materials, use of secondary or bio-based materials, adaptive design, renovation, repurposing of buildings, etc. And then it's also required that to quantify the impacts of the solutions that will be developed and demonstrated. Then the second requirement for project is to develop and demonstrate solutions for the diagnosis and performance characterization of used construction products and demolition waste in order to assess their condition and reuse potential. So then they will have to create inventories of reclaimed products and materials and develop appropriate business models, such for instance as marketplace tools. Third, proposals should develop and demonstrate whole life cycle greenhouse gas emission inventories of buildings to support decision-making and public action in line with the recast energy performance of building directive. Then the proposals are expected to contribute to reducing regulatory barriers and, where relevant, support the development of standards, which are, as we have already touched upon, are an important challenge. Another requirement is that proposals must ensure strong stakeholder integration across the value chain, involving all relevant actors, such as SMEs, building owners, local authorities, policymakers, civil society, and the people impacted by the solution. And yeah, I've mentioned it, but so the proposed tools and solutions must be demonstrated in at least 3 cities in 3 different member states or associated countries. And as I said, at least 1 city must be among the 112 cities participating in the EU mission and climate neutral and smart cities. And also the demonstration should showcase the potential for large-scale and cross-border reuse of construction materials and products. So that's it. Back to you, Borut, and if there are questions.
Thank you very much. No, there are actually no questions on this one. I mean, there was one question, but it was linked to the NEB Boost for small municipalities call. So whoever asked that question, please go to our website, find the NEB Boost subpage, and there is a specific support that you can get for the application. We cannot provide it at the moment for that regard. So we go to the general questions on NEB Facility. We have quite a lot of questions that came in. So, and we have time until 4:15. So we'll engage with them and be as efficient as possible. And hopefully we get, yeah, very close to the number 59, if not there. And without further ado, just to mention that now I have the pleasure to have all the ladies help me answer the questions. So we have Elisa coming back, Sophia returning, Linda is also back, and Emily is also helping. So with the joint power of all of us, we dive into the general questions about the NEB facility. First one being, were project ideas that gained financing through Horizon Europe for the NEB facility, where can they be found, so that these innovative solutions can be included and incorporated in project proposals for the rollout component? I think, Elisa, you have this one covered.
Yes, I think I can reply to that one in the sense that, of course, the focus of today's info session is the NEB facility call in Horizon Europe for 2026. But if you are interested in previous and ongoing research and innovation projects funded by Horizon Europe, then you can check the CORDIS database. It's quite easy to Google it. And there that includes all the Horizon Europe funded projects, and you can do different type of search per keyword, per call, etc. So there you can have a look.
Perfect. One down, 58 to go. Do we have a clear definition of peri-urban area? So this is something that we partly addressed already, but Sophia or Elisa, just a bit of a refreshment or guidance still that we can provide.
I think, Sophia, you already covered it in Destination 3, so maybe you can take this one now.
Yes, definitely. So it's basically the same reply that I gave in Destination 3 for the similar question, that we don't have a definition in the glossary, but we go by Eurostat's definition of what peri-urban area constitutes, and Eurostat outlines that again, semi-dense areas in low and middle income countries are described as peri-urban areas. In high income countries, they're usually described as suburbs, but in both cases, these areas have are considered to have a moderate density at the transition between a rural and a city or town, with population densities greater than 300 inhabitants per square kilometer.
Thank you very much. Very specific. Are civil society organizations seen as strategic and explicit stakeholder in NEB inclusion proposals? I don't know who to address this. Linda, I'm looking at you a bit. Can you maybe start and then others join in if you feel that you would like to complement?
Sure. Thank you. So interesting question, as always. The choice of your stakeholders would really depend on the proposal that you are developing and specific to the topic. As you have seen, as you have heard several times, different topics have different requirements and outcomes they are trying to reach, but they can give you already an indication what type of stakeholders you might consider, either as input kind of stakeholder or via their participation directly in the consortium. So that would be the most I can go probably in detail, because again, it's very proposal specific and call specific.
Thank you, Linda. Also, I think a very interesting question. For municipalities with both coastal and inland settlements, is it possible to design a NEB transformation that connects environmental resilience with cultural heritage roots? I mean, we always say everything's possible, huh? But Elisa, you can probably be...
Everything is possible as long as you meet the requirements of the relevant topic, of course. So indeed, this is very proposal specific. And in this case, again, up to each proposal to indicate how they meet the specific requirements set out in the topic they are submitted for, and also to justify the methodology, the choices related to it. So again, up to you.
Thank you.
And I can perhaps just complement that by saying that in a general introduction to the NEB Facility Work Programme 26-27, it's explained that the NEB Facility fosters solutions that are applicable across, again, urban, peri-urban and rural areas, including also coastal communities. So it's definitely encouraged, but again, have a look at the specific top requirements and how it could fit.
Thank you. Oh, okay, that one was linked to the... I didn't want to ignore it, but about when will the calls for the rollout component be announced? So the rollout component is financed through different other programs. So in line with those, with the publication of funding opportunities for those programs, the publication of those opportunities will happen. So not for us to announce that, or even we don't have a specific calendar in mind, but we do actually invite you to follow our website or social media. On the website, we have a specific section on the funding opportunities, which is always up to date. And the social media and other channels, we also promote the funding opportunities as soon as they become available. Going then to the next question, are proposals that tackle elements from different calls and or destinations from the same year appreciated, or is it advised to focus a proposal on one specific destination? I don't think we can give you an advice on that. It's a part of your game, how you play the game of European funding. But as long as your proposals adhere to the minimum requirements and have enough quality, and you have a quality partnership built around it, you can engage in multiple opportunities. But of course, the decision is always yours. Sarandopoulos is asking us, is it acceptable for a municipality to propose a pilot that combines green infrastructure, circular renovation of public buildings, and digital participation tools in one integrated concept? Again, a super specific question that we cannot answer directly. If it adheres to the specific call requirements and so on and so forth, it can be one of the options that the projects can address. In glossary, the neighborhood for the NEB facility implementation, and okay, that's the copy paste. Our lighthouse project, I guess, or what would be a project, refers to 11 square kilometers and 70,000 inhabitants. Does that fit the definition of the neighborhood as we have it in the glossary?
Yes, yes, indeed it does, since it's below 25 square kilometers. So that falls under the definition of neighborhood we have in the glossary.
Super. Thanks, Emily. I represent the UK Circular Village initiative, combining repair culture, heritage craft, and circular fashion education. Are small cultural ecosystems eligible within NEB facility calls if they are not mainly architecture-led? Linda, maybe it falls under your expertise on the eligibility. Please, the floor is yours.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. So for the eligibility, again, I would invite all the applicants to really check the call conditions and requirements. In the annexes, you will find how many participants you have to consortium in order to be eligible to apply for funding or for evaluation. Therefore, there are different ways of how you can have your consortium structured, different types of partners, different type of roles, all of them, of course. I cannot specifically answer to this request because that would be very specific to the proposal that you have in mind, but please take a look at the call condition and requirements, because for all of them you have specific conditions which apply for the minimum requirements by the applicants to be met and the proposals.
Thank you. Linda, does the same goes also for Cyprian's question? Can material-focused European networks participate as technical partners in that regard? So again, it's eligibility, who can participate. So
correct. So what happens with the who can participate in as a partner in a consortium? Every partner would have to have a participant profile filled in the funding and tenders portal. They have to have a legal entity established, etc. So that would be as a direct partner to the consortium. However, some entities can participate in the project rather as input kind of stakeholders, so they can indirectly participate in the consortium, but maybe not then have the funding. So there are different types of how entities can participate. The important part is they have to be a legal entity if they want to be a partner, and have to be registered as a participant in the participant portal on the funding and tenders portal.
thank you. Linda, I'll keep on bombarding you with the questions. This one on the eligibility of the costs.
Yes.
Again, I think we have a more general answer to this, but please, I give you the floor.
Thank you. So again, under Horizon Europe, we have an annotated grant agreement where you can find all the rules and obligations of the participants or of the proposals on the budget costs and eligible costs. So these can be found under the annexes or attachments that you can find in the call requirements or call conditions for every specific call. I cannot go into detail which one of these would be eligible, because that again is based on the context of your proposed work and within the scope of the call that you are applying for with your proposal.
Thank you. For housing-led approaches, would the cooperative housing model with strong participation and governance design be considered in scope, even if the pilot is at the pre-development stage? If I may take this one, again, it's depending on your project proposal. We cannot say yes, we cannot say no, but you've heard my colleagues quite in detail explain what we can say, what we cannot say, and it's and what you should focus on. So the core criteria, the minimum expectations, the general rules of the program. So to follow that path. In co-governance topics, what evidence is evaluators looking for? Formal decision power, citizens' assemblies, co-management agreements, or measurable shifts in trust and participation? While, of course, not commenting on specific evaluations, can we say something about this?
Well, I think this refers to a topic we have in 2027, so it would be out of the scope of this info session. So I would invite whoever suggested this question to either wait for the next info session or submit it via the Research Enquiry Service or your national contact point. But it is still, this is next year's topic, so it's still early in time.
Thank you. comment or a question. Developing a proposal is very resource consuming. We would appreciate less calls with more projects funded for each call. Any chance that this will change from 2028 onwards? Impossible to say anything about 2028 onwards. Maybe for those of you who don't know, so the EU functions on a 7-year budget, and the current budget, also covering the Horizon Europe work program 2026 and 2027, finishes in 2027. The budget for 2026 is under negotiation, and saying anything about 2028 is just making up stuff. So, and we don't make up stuff. But thank you for the feedback and the question. Is it possible to read previously granted applications somewhere to get a better understanding of how a good project concept would look like? I think I know the answer, but Linda, is it possible?
Well, I would say that not entirely possible to see the whole application, but as Elisa already suggested, there is a repository of EU-funded projects or Horizon-funded projects on Cordis. So that's a website where you can find all the projects that have been funded. Therefore successful applicants, but you can also see from their websites, or maybe you can get because all the projects have to develop their website, and you can see maybe the structure, how they have structured their work. Also, I would invite them, the applicants, to talk with their national contact points, because these can also a little bit help you out on and guiding on how to structure the application for Horizon Europe.
Thank you. Rafael is asking, oh yeah, I missed the beginning of your presentation. Yes, the recording will be available on our website. If you've subscribed to get a notification before the info session, we will also be sending out to that distribution list. But yeah, material from this info session will be widely available after the session. Another question from Saradopoulos. Can a proposal focus on transforming coastal communities, coastal neighborhoods affected by climate risks, while integrating tourism, seasonality management, and community well-being? So can a proposal kind of focus on one of the core questions and then expand by combining it with different other elements? Who would like to take the question? I see that, yes.
I think it's, I mean, we have the feeling we are repeating ourselves, but this is very proposal specific. So it depends on the concept you are proposing and which topic you have in mind to apply for. So again, you would need to be demonstrating how you meet the requirements of the topic.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. So the question is there a platform to find partners working on a proposal for joining a project consortia? Perhaps, Linda, if I can invite you as the best position, but Sophia, if you have something to add, please also jump on.
From my side, I can suggest to look at the funding and tenders portal for some matchmaking events that the Commission or, well, Horizon Europe has, from either organized by the NCPs, or you can find some webinars where people are participating, entities are participating, and you have the participant portal where you can find certain partners, potential partners. And then yeah, go from there. But if Sophia or Elisa, Emily have something else which can support the applicants in finding partners.
Yeah, I can perhaps just, thanks, Linda. I can perhaps just compliment by saying that, speaking of matchmaking opportunities, the NEB for All project, which is the project by the New European Bauhaus Research and Innovation and New European Bauhaus Policy NCPs, they're organizing a brokerage event on the 5th of March to facilitate connections among prospective applicants, and that might be a very interesting opportunity for anyone interested. And perhaps we can also just mention to visit. This is not a matchmaking or a platform to find partners for consortium building per se, but On the NEB website, we have a section on the NEB community, which has a list of all our partners and so-called friends. And perhaps it's a way to find organizations that are already involved in NEB or have some relevant aspects that might be interesting.
Thank you very much. We also covered this one. And unfortunately, we also exhausted the time for the questions. I quickly scrolled through. Most of them fall under the category we cannot really give you an answer because they ask about very specific aspects of the future project proposal or methodologies or whichever other parts of the projects as such. So instead of providing you a answer that we cannot provide, also I would just like to echo what all my colleagues already said, to use the existing structures, especially in the context of projects, what fits into projects, what makes a good quality Horizon Europe proposal, to really use the national contact points network, specifically NEB Research and Innovation, national contact points to help with that, and also then to lean on the research inquiry service for support when you have questions either from very basic on eligibility or more complex one. And that provides me a nice segue to welcome with us Kieran Burke from the REA Executive Agency. They manage the Research Inquiry Service, and Kieran will present you briefly what is the network, how it can be of use, and then we'll also be available for a few questions in the end. Kieran, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Robert. I was intending to share my screen just to have our single slide, but I'm not sure if I can do that here. My computer is not cooperating, but what I can do is I'll give you a brief rundown of what we do here in the RES, and then after the presentation, I can share it with yourself and with Emily, and that maybe it can be distributed, if that's okay, with the notes of the presentation in general. Would that be okay?
Yeah, but I mean, it should work with you. Otherwise, you have a co-host status.
Otherwise, the slide is also included in our presentation. So,
oh, great.
Okay, then I'll just I'll come back to our presentation. All right. Yeah.
It's just one slide. I'm just going to speak around it because I didn't want to overdo it. Yeah, that's it. Very good. Thanks, Emily.
Please, Kieran, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Barut. So my name is Kieran Burke, and I work in the Research Inquiry Service, which is based in the Research Executive Agency here in the Commission in Brussels. So what we do is we are an information service that provides replies to inquiries related to the research framework programs, as well as the European Defence Fund and Euratom, and to general inquiries on the legal and financial validation process for organizations. Now, this has been mentioned previously in the program today, I've noticed. I will tell you a little bit more about that later. But continuing, we handle over about 10,000 queries a year, which peaks between January and March and September, November, usually in correspondence with call closure deadlines. And I think that's probably the same for NEB related calls. So the service is provided by the Commission via the Europe Direct Contact Centre, the EDCC, which is run by our Communications Directorate General. So general questions are answered directly by the contractor who works for the EDCC. More complex inquiries are forwarded to the REA back office, which is my team. There are 5 of us, and we coordinate with 42 thematic help desks across the Commission, including across the Directorates General, the executive agencies, and the public-private joint undertakings. So the JRC does have a help desk as well, of course, and they are available to handle NEB queries. We would forward them on to their help desk, and they would answer more complex ones. More common legal and financial validation matters are usually handled by ourselves or the Central Validation Service. That's my colleagues here in my unit. The replies are published only in English. Apologies for the limitations there, but that's in line with our own internal service agreements. But we do find it works quite well over the last number of years. There's a wide range of organizations and entities who make inquiries, universities, RTOs, industry, SMEs, international organizations, NGOs, and of course NCPs, the national contact points. These are a vital support for member states researchers, and we get a lot of queries from them too. So of course it is also worldwide, it's not just Europe, reflecting the global nature of the European research framework programs. So the rest, we continuously attend info days and conferences too. So if we haven't met any of you in person yet, we may have the good fortune to do so in the next year or so. We do a lot of info days around Brussels, and we do travel around Europe as well on occasion to promote our service. It's quite a valuable service. It's particularly informative for new participants to the program that we find. So if there's anyone joining us here today who is a new participant or is not yet validated or eligible to receive EU funding, the Research Inquiry Service is definitely for you, because we can provide a lot of information through our colleagues. No person is an island, and there's quite a large team of us all together. So we can help you with that in terms of the introduction to the program. There's a lot of technical hurdles to surmount, as is the way with these kind of things. So the Res back office, we also try to ensure the quality of replies. We do spend a lot of time on this on occasion, because we do try and get as much information to the inquirer first time around. Obviously, we do get the occasional follow-up reply, or follow-up question rather, but we will come back to you in the most timely manner possible. Over 90% of our inquiries are handled within about 3 days. We do have a notional maximum 15-day limit in line with our institutional best practice. However, some complex technical or legal queries may take a little bit longer, but generally there's a very quick response time to your queries. Now, scanning the QR code you see in front of you there, or simply encoding Research Inquiry Service into your browser, will land you on our web form, which is how 90% of queries are received. There is also a phone number that people can make telephone queries through on the EDCC website. I will also send that to Borut or Emily at the end of the program, so that you can have that. It's quite handy to have. However, we do encourage people to use the web form. It's simpler, and it ensures a quicker response, especially if there's a slightly more complex query. So just to go back a little bit to the vast majority of the queries that we have, they usually concern legal and financial validation. So this is a kind of due diligence process to ensure that the correct parameters are achieved, so that you can actually join the program and become eligible for EU funding. It's the critical first step, really. And for anyone who's here today who is part of an organization that's not yet validated, I would encourage you to submit a query through our web form and ask about the process if you haven't heard about it already from colleagues or your peers. Every organization and entity needs a participant identification code, a PIC number, and this is once you're issued with that, the validation process can commence. The final validation of an entity is not actually concluded until they have been awarded funding into the program, until there's a go or a green light. However, it is important to get the ball rolling, so to speak. So we get a lot of questions on eligibility, but sometimes the subtle differences between technical differences between certain calls and topics, practical questions. It's all usually quite systemic and procedural, but we're here to help, and our colleagues are here to help. Like I said, there's quite a lot of us involved, and we would encourage you to come and send us any queries that you have. I don't want to overload. I think that's pretty much what I have, but if there are any queries about this, you can let us know. Let me know now, or you can put a query in directly to the Research Inquiry Service web form. But that's all for me for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Karen. Thank you also for the immensely essential work that you do, enabling a lot of organizations to engage meaningfully with European funding programs. If you have a question for Karen, please use the general questions tab in Slido, and we'll give a go opening the floor now for a minute too. And in between, We can just also repeat that the support is there to really give you not the heads up, but as equal chances as possible to participate in the program. Some might be more known than others when it comes to this kind of support services, but they're all there for you as such. I don't see any questions coming in. Chiara, we have another presentation coming in about the net from Net for Society project on the social sciences and humanities integration. If you can stick with us another 20 minutes, maybe, if any question comes in, or if it does, we also know where to direct the people to reach out to you. So whatever works with your agenda, but definitely big thank you for being with us today and for the presentation. We appreciate it a lot.
Pleasure. I'll be here. No worries.
And that leaves me to introduce Mikolaj Pitchak to take the floor on behalf of the Net for Society project, which I'm sure he will say more about it. So, Mikolaj, you with us?
Yes, I'm
ready
here.
to take the floor? Perfect.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you very much, Borut, for your kind introduction and for having us here today to speak about SSH integration, which has already been brought up with your presentations quite a lot of times today. And I'm very happy to shed some more light on what it is exactly and why is it important that also in new European Bauhaus calls proposals need to bring on board the capacities and the stakeholders coming up from the social sciences and humanities area as well. So my name is Mikołaj Pyczak. I am Polish national contact point for clusters 2, 3, and also the Bauhaus. So quite a lot of hats that I wear, but today is only on the European Bauhaus. So if we could go to the next slide, please, and say a bit of an introduction about what exactly is the SSH integration. So first of all, this is a political and a technical term that is being used by the European Commission, and it directly refers to doing inter or transdisciplinary research within the Horizon Europe framework program. So it basically evolves around social sciences and humanities stakeholders and STEM stakeholders working together on achieving goals that have been set out in the calls for proposals of Horizon Europe. So next slide, please. How does it exactly been? Okay, there it is. So it hasn't, I mean, the whole concept of SSH integration is already with us for quite a lot of years. And it's also being embedded into Horizon Europe regulation, into the strategic plan of Horizon Europe. And it clearly notes that the whole program should ensure that the multidisciplinary approach will be included within certain calls for proposals, and where appropriate, social sciences and humanities will be integrated across all the clusters, all the areas of Horizon Europe. And this will, of course, include specific topics, specific calls, which will be flagged with the need of having SSH stakeholders with their capacities also included in the proposals. So basically, in a nutshell, SSH integration and SSH stakeholders can be present and integrated into all clusters of Pillar 2, but it also includes all the missions and partnerships. And this SSH integration is a key principle of the whole Horizon Europe program. Next slide, please. So the European Commission promotes the forming of SSH and STEM research collaborations, because this sort of cooperation can help all the projects respond to the EU research needs that surrounding the formulation of better understandings and solutions to a very big number of societal challenges that are being faced by European societies at the moment. So the SSH integration is also important because it creates conditions that where both the social aspects and the technological aspects can be undertaken in certain research projects, and they are being explored within those projects. Also, the consequences of many different technologically oriented developments and innovations on society can be critically, broadly and critically analyzed and anticipated. And also, furthermore, different types of thematic specialties and methodological approaches of various different SSH disciplines can be incorporated into the research. The research approaches of certain very much technologically oriented projects. So those are the key lines showing us why in many cases of topics within the course of Horizon Europe, the need for SSH and STEM working together is quite significant. So next slide, please. As I said, the whole concept of SSH integration is that social sciences and humanities could be identified as relevant partners in basically all areas of Horizon Europe, although the part that concentrates the most on this SSH integration and on multidisciplinary research is basically the pillar 2, which is again all the clusters, the missions, the partnerships, and the majority of so-called SSH flag topics are in fact located in second pillar of Horizon Europe. So next slide, please. What can be perceived as benefits of incorporating SSH in those technologically oriented projects is that those stakeholders, those researchers, they can provide you with different outlook. They can provide you with ways to identify, for example, new emerging trends and attitudes. They can provide you with interpretations, different scenarios and the conditions under which the technology can be designed in a way that it favorably supports human needs and generates positive societal impact. And those multidisciplinary projects between SSH and STEM can lead to new knowledge being generated, a unique and original knowledge, and they can also generate new ideas and visions of new things that can be developed within the existing calls for proposals. So if we can go to the next slide. What can SSH stakeholders and their experience and solutions they can provide help you out with your proposal is that they can identify new groups that might be affected with research and technologies coming out from the project. They can provide you with new strategies, more society oriented. They can help you out with working directly with newly identified target groups. So there are many different questions that SSH can provide you with, questions that can significantly provide you with new societal impact that you can consider for your proposals. Next slide, please. Okay, so there are many different areas, many different activities and aspects that SSH can provide for this multidisciplinary research, and they can go from the human behavior research to social innovations to education and to different social groups. So there's plenty of potential in those institutions, and plenty of opportunities you can take on when preparing your proposals for also for the NEB calls this year or next year as well. So next slide, please. And because I already mentioned this, how we can see if the topic that we are planning to apply, if it requires this multidisciplinary approach, if it requires that we need to take on board the SSH partners. There is this scheme called flagging of SSH contribution into Horizon Europe proposals and calls. And quite often when reading topic description, you can find this located in the very center of the slide sentence that the topic requires effective contribution of SSH and involvement of SSH experts into the project. So this clearly means, and it has already been brought up today during one of the presentations of NEB calls, that this requires that you take on board SSH partners, that they need to be provided with resources, both financial resources as well as work resources. They need to be included in your work plan, in your work packages, tasks, so that they can provide a meaningful contributions to your proposals. And this flagging is basically the main instrument that is being used to recognize if the topic requires such kind of multidisciplinary collaboration between SSH and STEM. And those flagged topics can be found in both all the clusters as well as missions. Next slide, please. So without going very much into details of the topics which have been already quite extensively discussed today, here is basically a list of all the topics of current 2026 European Bauhaus calls, which have been flagged with this need for SSH and STEM collaboration. Our Cluster to Network under the umbrella of Net for Society project provides, and I will speak about it shortly, provides all stakeholders with this opportunities document that gives a nutshell point of view of all the topics flagged by the European Commission with SSH involvement, where we bring out all the description of activities and tasks that are required from SSH partners to be included in the projects. But we also provide you with some keywords that can help you out with identifying what kind of partners you might need. So this slide and the next slide as well will show you the topics from the 2026 call, along with the keywords that will most certainly help you identifying the exact kind of partners, type of partners that you can then invite into your proposal. So if we can move to the next slide, please. Okay, so it's 2027 again, so we can maybe skip it and save it for next year's event. Okay, so just to wrap up and tell you that the whole concept of SSH integration, of course, this is a very essential element of EU research under Horizon Europe. There are few notes to explain why, but I think the most important out of all those bullet points that you see, thing that you need to consider is that social sciences and humanities, in those topics flagged with the need of multidisciplinary research, are not add-ons. So you cannot take them just for the sake of checking the box of having an SSH partner on board. You need to involve them for their experience, and they should be on equal footing with all the STEM partners. They need to be incorporated and taken on board in the process of developing your proposal already from the very beginning, because otherwise this will be, of course, picked up by the evaluators. And even though your proposal might be very sound and ambitious, because of not fulfilling those obligations for the SSH involvement, you might not be evaluated and scored adequately. So if you happen to prepare your proposal and to work on a topic that actually requires SSH involvement, please have in mind that they need to be equal partners with equal budgeting rules and equal workload, so that they can also deliver with their competences all the results that are being requested from them in the topic description. So next slide, please. And I already brought this opportunities document to your attention. So this is a document that Net for Society prepares every year for all the stakeholders who are interested in knowing and learning how to identify topics with SSH flags. And it provides you with descriptions, with those keywords that will most certainly help you in finding out what kind of partners from SSH community you need and what kind of work they should deliver for your proposals. Of course, this current version of the opportunities document is available for the 26 and 27 work program, and you can already download it from the website that you have a hyperlink in my slide as well. So next slide, please. So just to wrap up, some final practical tips on what to have in mind when working on the projects with the SSH flag. Remember about securing the adequate SSH contribution into the proposals that you are preparing. Try to find SSH partners that can provide you with meaningful resources and contributions to your project. And also remember to involve SSH partners and SSH aspects they can bring up in all stages of proposal preparation and submission, because this is also a very crucial thing that has to be considered when preparing your proposal application. And with that, I will conclude my presentation and wish you a very good luck with your applications for the current calls. And in case of any questions relating to SSH integration, our whole team at Net for Society can provide you with any replies to the questions you might have. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nikolai, for the in-depth but succinct presentation. We have no questions coming in, neither for Kieran, neither for you. I think that we also maybe a bit exhausted our audience, because we've been going hard since 1 o'clock. So I would suggest the following: that we kind of wrap it up here, and we point everybody to contact you separately with the follow-up communication, and everything will be published on our website and as wide as possible. But big thanks again to both of you. Big thanks also, of course, to all my colleagues, Emily, Elisa, and Sofia, for delivering the presentations. Also to Linda and Katerina from Cinea to helping us with the preparation of the info session, and then also replying to the questions from the audience. Of course, to our head of unit who stopped by in the beginning. And from me, instead of saying goodbye, I leave you with the screen and just a quick reminder of what's there. All the possible resources and support services available to you in preparation of applications for the Horizon Europe submissions. So whether it be European Bauhaus, RNI, national contact points, a super valuable resource, research inquiry service, we heard about it, do use it. EU funding and NEB app, which can also help you identify other funding opportunities, whether linked to the rollout component of the NEB facility or wider. So to also kind of extend your knowledge of the funding landscape beyond the Horizon Europe or beyond the NEB facility in Horizon Europe. And then the last three resources that you see there, IT how-to, IT help desk, and Horizon Implementation Day are all the guidance or tools or resources that are specific to either using the funding and tenders portal or to the Horizon Europe program itself. So we will also share these resources with all of you on our website and via mailing list. And there is nothing left to do than to offer a blank screen, which means that we've exhausted the content. Thank you very much on behalf of all the Commission services that support the implementation of the NEB facility. And hopefully we will see many proposals from you coming in towards the end of the year. Take care, all the best. And if you have any questions, you know where to find us. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.